He erased Captain America from history. But Hulk still remembers a man who never existed. Wolverine changed time to save the world and broke its heart instead. Now the Avengers don't know who they are fighting for, and Hulk's memory might be the only thing left holding reality together. The memory blade. The lab was shaking, not from an earthquake, but from the weight of a decision no one should be allowed to make. Wolverine stood inside a temporal chamber deep within Beast's underground mutant facility, claws halfway unsheathed, trembling. "You sure about this, Logan?" Beast asked, tapping commands into a quantum-stabilized console glowing with X-branded lights. Logan didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the spinning wormhole in front of him. Its center pulsed with blue and red light, a loop of one moment, endlessly repeating. A man stepping into a machine. A needle piercing his arm. A scream. A transformation. Steve Rogers becoming Captain America. "Just say the word," Beast added, softer now. "Once you cut the loop, history won't grow it back." Wolverine took one step forward, bones aching. If this virus really came from him, then erasing that moment saves millions. He unsheathed all three claws. The gateway snapped open. Logan dove through. 1943, Brooklyn, New York. It smelled like metal and war. Wolverine landed in the alley behind the experimental lab, pulling on a trench coat stolen from a passing soldier. Inside the warehouse, Howard Stark was calibrating a chamber. A young, skinny Steve Rogers stood nervously in the center, surrounded by high-ranking military and SSR agents. But Logan wasn't watching Steve. He was watching the man behind the curtain. Dr. Heinz Kruger, a Hydra mole disguised as a Swiss scientist. The one who whispered secrets to Steve in his sleep during recovery. The one who encoded something into the serum's binding protein. The virus. Logan moved fast. Too fast. Before Kruger could lift the serum injector, Wolverine lunged forward and buried his claws into the man's chest. Screams exploded across the chamber. Soldiers raised weapons. Stark froze. Steve? He just blinked, confused, caught between admiration and terror. And then the wormhole reopened. Time collapsed like glass. And Logan vanished. Present day, Earth, 616, rewritten timeline. It was snowing in New York. But no one remembered a man named Steve Rogers. Not even the Avengers. Except one. Bruce Banner sat in a frozen cabin in the Rockies, his hands trembling around a mug of tea he didn't remember making. The news played on loop. Stark Corp acquired another defense contractor. S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't exist. Hydra never rose, because it never had a reason to. No mention of Captain America. No mention of Rogers. But Bruce couldn't sleep. He couldn't eat. And every time he closed his eyes, he saw a shield. Red, white, and blue, spinning like a memory that didn't belong. Avengers Tower, now Stark Corp Global. Iron Man ran simulations through 50 screens at once. His new AI assistant cold and efficient. "Sir, there's a signature anomaly in the gamma logs again. Banner's emotional spikes don't align with any physical trigger." Tony frowned. "What kind of spikes?" "Triggered by name. One that doesn't exist in this timeline." "Show me." On the screen appeared Steve Rogers. Project Rebirth. 404. File not found. Tony muttered, "Why would Bruce be dreaming about a ghost?" The cabin. Bruce opened his notebook. It was shaking in his hand. Or maybe he was. Dozens of scribbles. Fractured words. S.H.I.E.L.D. Brooklyn. Courage. Serum. Logan. He slammed the pen down. Why do I remember someone who never existed? Suddenly, the cabin shook. The door blew off its hinges. But it wasn't an attack. It was Logan. He walked in, coat drenched in snow, claws retracted, eyes heavy. Bruce stared at him. "You did something." Wolverine didn't answer right away. Then, "I cut one thread. Everything else unraveled." Bruce stepped forward. "It was Steve, wasn't it? I erased his past. Then why the hell do I still remember it?" The answer. Back at Beast's lab, hidden from the world, the mutant scientist finally decrypted the core truth. The gamma radiation in your cells, Banner, it's more than mutation. It's memory insulation. You're not just remembering Steve. You're the last backup of a reality that no longer exists. Logan paced. We had no choice. The virus Hydra left in him, it was going to wipe out every enhanced human. Bruce snapped. His voice dropped low. Dangerous. So you killed the cure before the infection could happen? Wolverine met his eyes. I saved the future. Banner growled. No. You rewrote it. And you made me the last witness. Banner walks outside the lab, breathing hard. The sky above glows with artificial satellites, Stark's network. He clenches his fists. Not angry. Not triggered. Just haunted. He looks at the moon and whispers. Cap, if you're out there in any version of time, I swear to you, I'll bring it back. Behind him, Logan lights a cigar. Silent. Guilty. And in the sky, something flickers, a cosmic tremor. A timeline rippling. As if someone or something heard the promise. Hulk knows. The nightmares weren't stopping. Bruce Banner had locked himself in a radiation-shielded chamber beneath Wakanda, 10 stories underground. Not to protect the world from Hulk, but to protect Hulk from the world. Because the world was wrong. Every screen said so. No one remembered Captain America. No super soldier serum. No Project Rebirth. No Avengers Initiative. But Bruce felt him. Microscope Wakandan Biovault, 3:14 a.m. Bruce sat cross-legged on the cold vibranium floor, sweat dripping from his neck. Dozens of EEG sensors pulsed red across his skull. The holograms above him spun, glitching every few seconds. He stared at the readings. The word Steve kept flashing across the neural waveforms, written by his subconscious while asleep. But Steve Rogers was gone. Not dead. Not missing. Erased. Why do I remember you? Bruce whispered. He tapped a console. Friday's voice responded, cold and clipped. Subject. Steve Rogers does not exist in this timeline. Please re-clarify query. He tried again. Different phrasing. Display memory fragments of shield bearer. A pause. Then a ripple. A flicker of color, red, white, and blue. And a single frame. Captain America's shield buried in the snow. Then static. Collision, the Hulk responds. Bruce's head snapped back. The pain hit instantly. Gamma surging through his bloodstream like a drumbeat. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. The lights in the chamber exploded as a scream echoed off the walls. Then silence. Then breath. But not Bruce's. Where is he? The Hulk was here. Eyes glowing. Skin trembling. But he wasn't raging. He was searching. Where is the man with the shield? Bruce, trapped deep inside, mentally watched through Hulk's eyes as he began tearing through panels, searching for something he couldn't name, but couldn't forget. He picked up a piece of shattered tech and stared at it. I remember his voice. I remember friend. Brain Beast Discovery. Meanwhile, deep inside the X-Mansion's rebuilt lower labs, Beast reviewed the encrypted files Bruce had left behind. He froze. This shouldn't exist. In Banner's gamma profile, buried under 7 layers of psychological encryption, was a name. In his brainwaves, Steve Rogers. Beast activated a quantum viewer, pulling partial image fragments from Bruce's hippocampus. They saw it, a tall man in a star-covered suit, holding a round shield, smiling. Alive. He's real, Beast whispered. He was real. Behind him, a shadow stepped in. Wolverine. Arms folded. Face stone cold. I told you. I had to cut the thread. Beast turned sharply. You didn't cut a thread. You spliced the entire tree. I stopped a Hydra-triggered extinction event. And made Hulk the only man on Earth who remembers hope. Laptop computer Stark's paranoia. Inside Stark Tower, now rebranded as Stark Core Global. Tony's AI red-flagged an anomaly. Warning. Subject banner showing elevated memory crossover spikes. Unauthorized names detected in synaptic patterning. Tony walked into the core control room in his latest armor, glowing with arc reactor power. Screens all around pulsed with red glyphs. Get me visuals. Displaying. Suddenly, Steve Rogers' face appeared, mid-punch, mid-smile, mid-battle. all at once, fading in and out like a ghost in the machine. Tony backed up. Who the hell is that? Friday responded. No file found. No metadata. No existence. But he's burned into Banner's mind. Tony narrowed his eyes. Then either Banner's cracked, or someone rewrote the damn timeline. High voltage, Hulk breaks containment. Back in Wakanda, alarms screamed across the palace. Shuri bolted upright in her lab as the words Gamma Breach, Level 10 flashed across every panel. Chalia's projection flickered in, voice low. Is it Banner? She didn't answer. She already knew. Underground, Hulk roared into the night. But this time he wasn't smashing. He was running. Somewhere inside, Bruce was guiding him. They were both chasing something invisible. Something real. A feeling. Not rage. Loss. Hourglass not done, a faint ripple. In a hidden dusty corner of the old S.H.I.E.L.D. archive in upstate New York, a relic began to flicker. A scratched-up S.H.I.E.L.D. badge. No name. No record. But glowing faintly beneath the dust. In the microchip, a single recorded voice log. Steve Rogers, field report. Hydra's tech may be deeper than we thought. If I don't make it, tell Bruce. He was right. The chip cracked. Reality bent for 0.3 seconds. And the sky over Wakanda rippled. Thor saw it from the Bifrost station above. His grip tightened. What in Odin's name was that? Compass Hulk finds the crater. Hulk stopped at an old military crater site in Greenland, a place no one had visited in decades. He fell to his knees. Clawed earth. Frozen ground. He stared at the frost. At something buried beneath. A circular pattern. Faint. Metallic. Red and white. He reached forward. Touched it. And whispered. Friend. A single flash of light burst out. Hulk's pupils shrank. Memories flooded in. Every battle. Every shield throw. Every word Steve ever said. And one final moment. You're not just strong, Bruce. You're brave. And if the world forgets me, I know you never will. Final scene. Hulk stood up slowly, still touching the buried shape. He looked to the sky and growled. You took him. Cut to Wolverine, standing silently in a Black Ops base. He sees the tremor hit the sky. He closes his eyes. And for the first time, he hears Steve's voice whisper back. Logan, I trusted you. The Logan Protocol. The old base smelled like rust, ash, and regrets. Deep beneath the Rockies, where the X-Men once ran Cold War simulations, Wolverine stood in front of a dark monitor, watching old logs of himself from a timeline that technically no longer existed. The screen flickered with ghost footage. Captain America and Wolverine fighting side by side, in the snow, in the jungle, in alien wars. But none of it was real anymore. Because of him. He'd erased that version of Steve Rogers, the man who stopped wars with words and started hope with a shield. He took a deep breath and slammed a claw into the console. You were supposed to forget him, Banner. That was the whole damn point. But Hulk hadn't. And that changed everything. Brain inside the memory net. Beast stood in a Wakandan neurochamber, arms folded, watching Bruce lie still inside a translucent gamma-stabilized scanner. His brain lit up with symbols not found in any modern language. Glyphs. Shield patterns. Battle cries. Wolverine entered silently. No growl. No attitude. Just guilt. Beast nodded to the monitor. He's stabilizing, but the memories are spreading. Cap isn't just in his mind now. Wolverine raised an eyebrow. He's infecting the timeline again. Logan stiffened. That's not possible. I closed the gate. No, you closed the front door, Beast corrected. But Banner? He's remembering through the back door. Wolverine didn't speak for a moment. Then, if Steve's memory is leaking into this reality, we've got a bigger problem than grief. Beast glanced at him. We've got a war between what is and what was meant to be. Police Starlight Stark's response. Inside Stark Corps HQ, Tony sat in a dark room with a quantum helmet over his face, scrolling through corrupted data logs. Friday was glitching again. Every time he searched Steve Rogers, the name would flash, then delete itself. But now something new appeared. A warning embedded in his own code from himself dated years ago. If Rogers disappears, don't trust the timeline. Don't trust Logan. Tony ripped the helmet off. I knew this day would come. He tapped the table. A suit locked away for emergencies only snapped open. Not red, not gold, but white and black. A suit designed for reality breach containment. He muttered, "Time to remind the mutant what rules look like." Satellite, the message. Miles above Earth, aboard the defunct SWRD satellite Aegis 9, a dormant signal activated. An old voice echoed through the static. Captain Steve Rogers. Final mission log. If I don't return, tell Logan. I forgive him. The file was sent, automatically, to 2 coordinates. 1. Bruce Banner's neural receiver. 2. Wolverine's failsafe suit. Collision, Hulk breaks again. Bruce woke in the chamber screaming, but not in pain. In remembrance. He gave everything. He gave all of us a reason. Wolverine entered the chamber. Slowly. Bruce looked up, his face raw, eyes bloodshot. You took away the man who kept me human. Wolverine didn't flinch. I took away the man who was unknowingly infected. The virus, the serum, it was all part of Hydra's long game. And now? Bruce asked. Now I'm not sure anymore. Hulk surged up without warning, his body snapping through restraints, feet crashing to the floor like thunder. But he didn't smash. He walked past Logan, breathing heavily. Take me to the gate. If I'm the only one who remembers, then I'm the only one who can bring him back. Gear, the Logan protocol activates. Beneath Beast Lab, inside a vault that hadn't opened in 10 years, Wolverine placed his hand on a DNA lock console. A voice spoke from within, Magneto's voice. The Logan protocol is not a weapon. It is a truth failsafe. Beast explained. It was designed in case mutant memory ever diverged from the human timeline. If enough neural pressure builds, it reboots the gate from within. Wolverine looked at Hulk. You'll be walking through with nothing but fragments. You sure you'll know how to find him? Hulk didn't blink. I never forgot him. That means he's still somewhere. Wolverine hesitated, then held out a worn compass. He gave this to me once. Said, you'll need it when the world loses its direction. Hulk took it and stepped into the swirling light. Satellite antenna, meanwhile, Stark intercepts. As the gate fired up, the Earth shook, not from impact, but from resistance. Time was pushing back, and Stark's AI kicked into full override. Unauthorized reality rewrite detected. Containment suit online. Tony launched toward the facility in full breach mode. He didn't want war. He wanted answers. But when he arrived, the gate was already halfway open, and standing in front of it was Logan, suit glowing faintly, claws halfway out. Don't make me stop you, Stark. I'm not here to stop. I'm here to watch what happens next. They stood side by side. The light pulsed brighter, and through the center, a shield flickered into view, battered, faint, but real. A pulse tore through the air. The gate closed. Silence, and a heartbeat. Somewhere, in a pocket of fractured time, a voice whispered, Bruce. And Hulk smiled. The blood ghost. It was dark, not the absence of light kind. The kind of darkness that wraps around memory. The kind that doesn't let go. Hulk blinked, not in anger, in confusion. He was standing in a place that didn't belong. Ruins of something familiar, but warped, stretched, misremembered. The sky above was split into stripes of old color, red, white, and blue, and then twisted into black. It smelled like ash, but also leather and iron. His fingers curled. Cap. A flicker. A voice. A scent. Gone. DNA time pocket. Neural reboot zone. This wasn't time travel. This was deeper. A memory space that bled into physical reality. Constructed by the timeline's broken logic. Only Hulk could survive it. Only Hulk should. He stepped forward, following a trail of shattered glass, each shard reflecting memories that shouldn't exist. One showed a Hydra base, Cap diving through flames. Another, Hulk and Cap laughing around a campfire. Another, Cap bleeding on a battlefield, whispering something Hulk couldn't hear. He knelt down, touching one fragment. Suddenly, a surge. Energy shot through his arm. Gamma and serum, two codes that were never meant to mix, collided. His skin glowed. Veins lit up. And then, "Bruce, can you hear me?" The voice was broken, scrambled. But it was him. "It's me, Steve." Brain Banner reawakens. Inside the Hulk's mind, Bruce Banner opened his eyes, floating in green static. Everything felt warmer than it should. Steve's voice echoed again. "They used me, Bruce. Hydra laced the serum with a sleeping code. But I resisted it. Until Logan found out. He thought killing my past would stop the virus from ever existing." Bruce clutched his head. "But your absence was worse. Without you, we never became the Avengers. Without you, Earth never prepared for what's coming." Another voice cut in. One Bruce didn't expect. "He's right. Tony. But not the present one. A backup version. From the erased timeline. You told me once, if they forget Steve, the world will forget why it fights." Well, look around. Fire the Truth reveals. Bruce woke with a gasp. The Hulk collapsed to one knee in the time pocket, breathing hard. A hand touched his shoulder. Not heavy, not warm, but real. A glove. A star on the wrist. He looked up. Steve Rogers stood there. Worn uniform. No shield. Face covered in soot. But those eyes still calm. Still Cap. "Took you long enough." Hulk just stared. "I remembered." Steve smiled faintly. "Then you're the only one who can bring it back." The sky behind them trembled. The timeline was collapsing, fighting to push the memory back into silence. Shield the last fragment. Steve reached into his chest, pulling out a glowing thread of light. A symbol. Not just the shield. The feeling of it. The memory of protection. Of purpose. Of standing up when no one else would. He handed it to Hulk. "Give this to Logan." "Why?" "Because he's going to need to believe in me. Again." Everything shook. Hulk screamed, not in anger, but refusal. He didn't want to lose him again. But Steve was already fading, smiling, saluting. Hulk opened his hand. The symbol still pulsed, faint but alive. He whispered, "I'll bring you home, Captain of Nothing." The sky cracked. Wakanda's skyline warped as the pocket timeline ripped open above Mount Bashenga. The rift pulsed blue and green, stitched with gamma lightning. Hulk burst through first, skin burned, body steaming, one fist clenched tightly around a single glowing thread. Wolverine was already waiting. No claws, just breath held tight in his chest. Hulk dropped to one knee, the shockwave sending stones flying. "He's alive," Hulk growled. Wolverine stepped forward slowly. "You saw him?" Hulk looked up. "He remembers everything, and he forgave you." Logan flinched like he'd been shot. "He what?" Hulk opened his hand. In his palm, a glowing energy imprint shaped like the star from Steve Rogers' shield, beating like a heartbeat. "He said you'd need this." Brain Beast's last decode. Inside the Wakandan lab, Beast and Shuri analyzed the imprint. Scanners failed. Neural readers shorted out. It wasn't tech. It was belief, stored in memory, quantum-preserved willpower, a frequency strong enough to override a corrupted timeline. Shuri adjusted the controls. "If we amplify this through the Logan Protocol gate." Beast nodded. "We don't restore history. We restore who we were supposed to be." Wolverine clenched his jaw. "Open it." Satellite Stark's decision. Miles away, inside Starcore, Tony hovered mid-air in his white containment suit. Friday flooded him with alerts. "Sir, they're activating a memory cascade. Unchecked, it could collapse the present reality." Tony narrowed his eyes. What's worse, living in a lie or remembering the pain that shaped us? He removed his helmet. For the first time in this timeline, his eyes held something other than calculation. Let them do it. Collision, the memory cascade. The gate lit up, silver and gold, forming the shape of a spinning shield. Wolverine stepped forward, holding the memory. As he crossed the threshold, the world slowed. Buildings paused. Birds froze mid-flight. Then, the pulse hit. A shock wave of light tore through every satellite, every mind, every archive. The erased memories came screaming back. Flash, Steve Rogers punching a Nazi in World War II. Flash, Cap, and Hulk standing back-to-back in New York. Flash, Iron Man handing Cap his shield one last time. Flash, I can do this all day. DNA planet-wide reset. The world blinked and remembered. School textbooks updated in real time. Shield files reappeared. The statue in Washington, D.C. returned. A bronze Captain America, holding his shield high, surrounded by the names of those who stood beside him. People stopped mid-walk, clutching their heads. Why was he gone? How did we forget? Shield, the return. In the forest near the crater where it all began, Hulk stood still, eyes on the horizon. Wind stirred. A faint rumble in the earth. Leaves spun upward like they were saluting. And then, a silhouette walked out from the light. Boots covered in mud. Gloves tight. A shield slung across his back. Hulk's lips didn't move, but his heart roared. And from a figure, quiet, calm, came two words. I'm back.